Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be covering some mixed signals that girls send to guys. Listen, I know dating can be pretty confusing and trying to understand women is something that you guys request my advice for on the regular. So in this video, I'm going to be going over some common mixed signals that women typically send men and how you can make sure that you're not wasting your time. Of course, mixed signals are not always malicious, so I want to make that clear. On one end of the spectrum, mixed signals can be just a miscommunication. But on the other end, it could be the girl who keeps you at an arm's length to use you. I'll explain more throughout the video, but please keep that in mind going in and be sure to stick around until the very end because I'm going to explain the 5 categories that all of these fall into and exactly why women do this. So the first mixed signal that I want to talk about is once you stop giving her attention, all of a sudden she wants you. Now, this is beyond annoying and something that I personally see happen way too often and way more than I would actually like to admit. So it's this whole phenomenon of you stop giving her attention, you stop reaching out, you stop chasing her. And all of a sudden she's now interested. Or another thing here could be she sees you with someone else and now she's into you. Well, of course she is. Not to burst your bubble. I know it's exciting when they finally like you back and you feel like, something happened. She must have come to her senses. But most of the time here, this is often just a sign that she likes the attention that you give her. It can feel really confusing and certainly would be considered a mixed signal when you thought she wasn't interested, and now all of a sudden she is, now that you've stopped giving her that attention. You're probably thinking to yourself, well, I thought she didn't like me, but now she's messaging me all the time, saying she wants to hang out or X, Y, and Z, and it's just not a really good situation to be in. Because again, typically, this is the girl that's just using you for attention. She likes the attention that you give her and doesn't actually like you. Because if she liked you, she would have been into you before she saw you with someone else. Or she would have been into you when you were being a healthy human being and giving her attention and pursuing her. And this is something that I see a lot too. And I know it's talked about here on YouTube a lot, is this thing where women will see you with someone else and then it makes them like you because they see that you're an eligible bachelor for another woman. They see another woman who's interested in you, or they see you attracting beautiful women, and all of a sudden they're like, well, if those girls want him, then I should want him too. Or, oh, he's a good catch because these other women are into him as well. So this whole thing goes back to our biology of being interested in someone who has options. Hypergamy at its finest. The next mixed signal is that she's being hot and cold or playing hard to get. Most of the time these go hand in hand. And honestly, both of these just make my head spin. I think that playing games in dating is so immature and it's very insecure and a huge red flag in my personal opinion. I talk about this a lot on my channel and I always say the same thing. One day she might be super into you, texting you a ton, being very responsive, and then the next day or the next week, you don't hear from her at all. What's going on? There are a few reasons why women might play hard to get. The first one here is to test a man's interest. Some women play hard to get because they're testing your level of interest in them. If a man is willing to put in the effort to pursue her, it can be a sign that he is genuinely interested in her. But then they think that you're a simp and they're not interested when you're finally interested in them, and it's just this huge mess. So someone testing you in this way is not a positive thing and kind of a red flag in my opinion. The next reason women might also play hard to get is to protect themselves emotionally. By not showing their interest too quickly, they can avoid getting hurt if the man turns out to be someone who is not interested in a serious relationship or just not interested in her in general. Playing hard to get can also boost a woman's self-esteem because it can be validating to know that someone is interested in you enough to continue to chase you, even though they're not sure if you like them in return. Toxic. And I will say this again, as I've said so many times before, I think that playing mind games with people, playing hard to get, being hot and cold, these are just things that you don't want to get yourself into. And you certainly don't want to be with someone who is doing these things to you. I think it starts the relationship off on a really unhealthy and toxic foot. And if you're looking for a healthy, fulfilling relationship with another human being, a big part of that is healthy communication. And I just simply don't think there is any healthy communication going on if someone is playing games with you. Purposely playing hot and cold or hard to get. The next mixed signal that girls will sometimes send is she flirts with other guys or talks about other guys to you or even her ex. And here you are probably thinking, okay, well, I thought she liked me. Why is she flirting with other guys? Or why is she talking about other guys to me? There are a few reasons why she might be doing this. And to be honest, none of them are good. She might really like this external validation and attention from other men or think that it'll make you give her more attention too. Sometimes women think that flirting with other men can be a way for women to get attention from the guy that they actually like. They might be trying to show him that they're desirable and that that guy should be interested in them because other guys are right. She might simply be keeping her options open or she's trying to make you jealous, or again, test you. So some women might flirt with other men as a way to make the guy that they like jealous. They might be thinking to themselves, this is for sure going to make him realize his feelings for me, and he's going to chase me even more if he sees me with another guy. I would not recommend you guys be with a woman who is actively trying to make you jealous or talking about other men in front of you to make you feel a certain way. I just don't think this is healthy or necessarily positive, as I mentioned. The next mixed signal is simply her words and her actions do not match. She might say all the right things to you, but if her actions aren't matching, that's a mixed signal and a sign to abort mission, my friend. And I made this one here a more general point because I think that there are a ton of different examples that could fall into this one, but I'll give you some of the most common ones to look out for. The first example is she says she wants to see you, but she's just too busy. And this right here is just another case of watch what she does and not what she says. I miss you, or I want to see you. But then she says she's too busy and the plans never follow through. I'm not buying it. Also included here could be canceling last minute.
I get a lot of questions from guys about why women do this or what it means or if you should give another chance.
And I think we can give a little bit of grace for the first time this happens, but if she's a repeat offender, it's time to go. The reason being, if she genuinely liked you, she would make time for you and make that a priority. We're all busy, let's be real. But if she wanted to spend time with you and get to know you, she would be doing it. If she missed you, if she says she wants to see you and she really means it, she would be doing it. So again, watch what people do, not what they say. I think sometimes people do tell you exactly who they are. You can often see things so much more clearly if you just watch someone's actions instead of listening to the words that they're saying to you. So on to the next portion of the video. Here are the 5 categories that these often fall into. So when a girl sends mixed signals, it can often fall into one of these 5 categories that I'm going to talk about. The first one being that she's unsure about her feelings. Sometimes a woman might not be sure if she's interested in a man or not. And in these cases, she might send mixed signals because she's just trying to figure out her feelings. This is not necessarily malicious as some of the other ones are, but I think it still brings up some concern of, is this woman emotionally unavailable and not ready for a relationship? And that's why she's sending me mixed signals. Or is she keeping me at a distance because she wants to keep her options open? She isn't sure if she wants to commit to me. I mean, there are a ton of different things that could be included in this one, but a woman being unsure about her feelings is certainly a reason why she might be sending mixed signals. And to that I say, do you want to be with someone who is not sure about you? That's up to you. You set your boundaries and do whatever you feel comfortable with. But I don't know if I necessarily recommend that. The second category is she's playing hard to get. As I mentioned earlier in one of my examples, some women might send mixed signals as a way to test a man's interest or to make him work harder to win her over. So included in that category obviously is playing hard to get, but also being hot and cold, sending you these mixed signals that make you confused about does she like me or not. But playing hard to get is different than being unsure about your feelings because you're doing that on purpose. The next category is she struggles with communication. So a woman might be sending you mixed signals if she's afraid of being rejected. Maybe she's interested but also scared to show it. Or maybe she just has a really hard time with communication and expressing how she feels to you or being vulnerable. So this one is not necessarily malicious. I do think not being able to effectively communicate is something, though, that needs to be worked on. And you certainly are not responsible for fixing someone or making someone better at communication. That's something that we have to do for ourselves and heal and work on ourselves. And I think this is an incredibly important trait to look for in a partner. So if that's not there, well, that might be an issue. The next category that mixed signals can fall under is she's flat out using you. This one's pretty self-explanatory here. Some women send mixed signals because they like the attention, they like the gifts or all the stuff that you give them, and know that if they give you a sliver of hope that they're interested, you'll keep providing them with what they want from you. Not great. The next category is she doesn't like you and she's trying to be nice. It is very possible and actually incredibly common that women send mixed signals to men because they're simply not interested. And in this case, I would say it's best to take the hint and move on. But I do think sometimes women are afraid of the way that men will react, or they just really don't want to hurt your feelings. I think a lot of us have been kind of conditioned as we're growing up to not hurt people's feelings. I know I've definitely been in that situation before of maybe not necessarily coming out and being so blunt about something because I don't want to hurt that guy's feelings, or I don't want to hurt someone's feelings. So she might say things like I mentioned earlier of, well, you know, I would really love to, but I'm too busy. Or things like that, where she's not directly telling you, no, I'm not interested, but she's giving you reason to believe that she might not be but kind of still giving you a sliver of hope by not being so blunt and honest about it, but just kind of hoping that you get the hint. And again, you can really understand these hints and see them more clearly if you watch actions instead of words. And I really do wish that we could all just say what we mean and not expect people to be mind readers and, tell you when we're not interested, tell you when we are, and not send all these mixed signals, because I do think it makes things very confusing. But unfortunately, I am not a puppeteer, and I cannot control every woman on the planet or make them listen to what I'm saying. So, in that case, sometimes it's helpful to just know what you're up against, know what you're dealing with, so that if you are in those situations and you are being confronted with these mixed signals from a woman, you know when to walk away or to keep pursuing. So to wrap this video up, regardless of the reasoning behind it, why she's doing it, what the mixed signal is, mixed signals just really aren't a positive thing, whether it's on one extreme of the spectrum or the other. And the reason is because effective communication is a fundamental requirement in a healthy relationship. And it's absolutely crucial that you're able to communicate what you want, what you need, what you expect from someone in order for something to be healthy and fulfilling. And ultimately here, as I mentioned, most of these mixed signals that women send can be really easy to understand and see a lot more clearly if you just watch what people do and pay attention to their actions instead of what they're saying. So I know dating is tough. I hope that you guys found this video helpful. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Comment below, what are some mixed signals that women have sent you? What do you typically do in these situations? I would love to hear your stories and experiences. Comment below to help some other guys out in the process. As always, thank you all so much for watching. See you